feels like summer. And it feels like summer.
Hola everyone, JB Thrills here, back with another video. And today we're talking about Six Flags over Texas. If you haven't already heard, over Texas is having some very sad times right now, as it was recently announced that Aquaman Powerwave, the newest attraction for over Texas, is getting delayed to 2023. And yes, this already happened twice, making this the third time. So why did it get delayed? And what can we expect? In today's video, I'll be breaking down exactly that, and discuss if it'll be worth the wait. Before I get into the video though, I would like to say, if you like my content and videos, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, tap notification bell to know when new videos arrive on my channel. On JB Thrills, we make all sorts of content, all relating to theme parks. No matter where it's located or if it's a flat ride, as long as it's a thrill ride, it's covered on this channel. So if you're a thrill seeker, you should definitely consider sticking around. Anyways, let's get into today's video. So, as I was saying earlier, yes, this has happened before. In fact, 2 times, now it's 3 with this time. But the first time Aquaman Powerwave got delayed was for a really valid reason. The ride was planned to open in 2020, but you know how that went down. So naturally, like all the other rides at Six Flags, Aquaman got delayed to 2021. And then in 2021, Ron McKenzie was now in charge. And him, being the amazing park president he was, realized that only having one train for Aquaman and making us wait 1 whole year for this attraction was definitely not adding up. So he decided to add a turntable to the attraction for more capacity and make the wait more worth it. So the ride gets delayed again, this time to 2022. But we didn't mind because it was totally worth waiting for a brand new turntable, because more capacity is always awesome. Plus, we were going to get a themed queue, which was even better. But then fast forward and construction starts getting slower, and 2022 hits. And it hit kind of hard, because in the beginning of the year, Ron McKenzie was no longer park president, because Six Flags decided to kick him off, for absolutely no reason. Which means any idea that Ron McKenzie had for Aquaman got pushed aside, and because he was no longer in charge, construction became slower. So slow in fact, that summer finally arrived and Aquaman still was not open, even though the opening date was supposed to be early summer. We're now in July and it's still under construction, and by July 4th Fest weekend, we actually saw major changes like the Q House building, the completion of the turntable, and the pool. So it looked like it could open, just really late than it should have, and really cutting it close because summer's about to end. And just when we think everything is looking normal, Over Texas decides, nah, we're not going to open in 2022, and delays it to spring of 2023, if it even opens then. And now we're back to waiting another year for Aquaman. 3 years waiting for a ride that really isn't much worth to wait for. I mean, the layout is really not that impressive, and the only reason why I'm hyped for it is because we desperately need a water attraction. Considering Daffy Duck Bucket Blasters was removed, and while Ron promised to move it somewhere else when he got removed too, Daffy Duck just got placed in storage, and Roaring Rapids is currently out of commission. So yeah, we needed this ride, especially now, with heats at 100 degrees, but it didn't happen. So why? Well, from all the speculation, despite Six Flags saying supply chain issues, personally I think it's more of a procrastination / supply chain. I mean, I understand with inflation and everything, but the ride could have been open way sooner, because how come Fiesta Texas, who got a brand new B&M dive coaster this year, or Magic Mountain that got a brand new arms here after this year, both managed to open before Aquaman? Oh, the parts are overseas. Well, they had 3 years to ship them in. So at this point, there's not really an excuse for Aquaman being delayed. Not trying to point fingers, but it could be because of the new leadership from Six Flags, and how basically they're playing favorites even more than ever. And with Over Texas getting their events cut and rides removed, it's no wonder Aquaman's going as slow as it is. The so-called improvements from the new leadership aren't really that good. Like, sure, we got some new paint, but it looks kind of cartoony. Looney Tunes Mall, the new Times Square edition feel to it, never really came to fruition. The colors are way off and it feels very cartoony. There's apparently a Coaster Coffee stand, which despite getting built first, feels like a ripoff of Coaster Coffee at SeaWorld San Antonio, which was done way better because they actually value the park and not Looney Tunes in DC. And basically the only good thing from it was the Over Texas mural, which was perfect, if only the whole thing had an Over Texas vibe to it. But it's still being marketed as Looney Tunes Mall, when it's supposed to be a Six Flags Over Texas legacy store, as Ron McKenzie said. And then we have Pirates Spelunker Cave. I was so hyped to see this attraction actually happen, and riding it I was so surprised in the amount of detail it had. But only 3 weeks later, just 3 weeks, and the ride was in very bad quality. It was a walk-on, barely any of the effects were working, some of the animatronics were static or missing heads, the light effects were broken. It's a mess, and Six Flags doesn't seem to care, and sadly this is reflecting on Aquaman Powerwave. So what can we expect? Will it have the theming it was rumored to have? Well, based on construction, it looks like not. With the new queue finally built, we can actually see where the new entrance for the ride is, and where you're going to board. And it looks like you're boarding on the right, which is different than the concept part where you board on the left. So if you're not boarding on the left, where there's the most room, it looks like that themed queue will not happen. It'll probably just be like a backlot or something, and you just wait in a shaded queue outside, instead of being indoor like Ron McKenzie planned. Honestly, they should have kept Ron McKenzie in charge, and I have no idea why they took him out. He was doing a great job with the park, and he was like Jeffrey Siebert. With Jeffrey Siebert and Ron McKenzie in charge of these Texas parks, we could have seen the rise in Texas amusement industry, and the quality of Six Flags could have gone up by 1,000,000. But the leadership is out here worrying about raising prices and food, which for Six Flags, food should be put later. Like, yes, food needs work, but why is that priority? The park, the infrastructure needs priority. So yeah, Aquaman is delayed to 2023, and I'm very disappointed. There was many different scenarios for this to happen, and it could have opened way sooner. But if leadership made right calls and kept the right people, this situation could have ended up a lot differently. We could have already been riding Aquaman and talking about how fun it was and how it was refreshing in the hot summer, and then start planning ahead for another attraction to possibly come next year, or maybe a special event. But no. And I can already sense the comments coming, saying, oh, he's a fanboy, and if he doesn't get what he wants, he's gonna get mad, or he doesn't know about stocks or anything, and none of that is true. Yes, I am a fan of Six Flags Over Texas, and Six Flags as a whole, but I completely understand that they're not capable of adding another attraction, because yes, there's money, but I do care genuinely about Six Flags. They've only been noticed as a discount chain, but there was a time where there wasn't the discount chain, and they are highly capable of passing Cedar Point and being a high quality theme park. With the amount of parks they got, if they put care into all of them, they could beat Cedar Fair and even Disney because the prices are lower and it brings more thrills. And yet people will still say it's not possible and I'm too imaginative. But we saw it in 2021 with Mike Spanos and his amazing team. Six Flags went from struggling after the pandemic to being amazing, and they were on the right track. But one leadership change, and all of a sudden they're back to where they started. And what's the pattern? Care for theme parks. Mike Spanos cared for the Six Flags parks, and he picked the right people for each park to do their job right. But now, all Six Flags cares about is money, and if a small park is not making enough money, they basically push it aside. But that's not going to help the business at all, because they have to build the smaller parks up to get to the level of the higher quality parks, so they have more consistency between all their parks, which in turn makes more money. The whole point of Six Flags from the very beginning was to charge less and offer more, which the whole reason why Disney copied off of their strategy when Six Flags Over Texas started in 1961. And if Six Flags got to the quality of Disneyland and still charged less, who will be better? Six Flags. But by raising prices, that's not going to help. And it's not like they're justifying the expenses, with lots of rides being closed and Aquaman being under construction for 3 years. They promised their 2022 season pass holders that they'll get to ride Aquaman for this season. Did they? No. Will they offer them an extension? No. And it's a little bit unfair because some people actually bought the pass when they heard of the announcements that Aquaman was going to open this year. And now it's kind of a waste, especially when we have lots of attractions closed. So in result, Six Flags needs to get it together as a whole. They have the resources, and they just need to find the right people to care for these parks. They can't neglect them just because of how much they make. The care has to go all around. And hopefully, sometime in the near future, we get to see Ron McKenzie come back to Over Texas because he did a really great job. And he loved this park with a passion. So maybe Six Flags sends an apology and brings him back or something. Who knows? And for all the other Six Flags parks like St. Louis, Great Escape, La Ronde, even Six Flags Mexico, hopefully they all get care soon. Even Frontier City, because all parks start small. Anyways, that's kind of like my Aquaman update / semi-rant about what's going on, and I do hope Six Flags watches this and keeps it under consideration. I'm not trying to bash them, and I love their parks. I just hope they actually put more care, and at this point I'm just speaking my mind. Anyways, do you agree with me? And do you think Aquaman's going to open in 2023 or get pushed back again? And will we see anything new for the following year? Me personally, it's still a maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. It's like a 0.5% chance. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. This is JV Thrills, signing out.